Hello, my name is Mathias and welcome to what I usually like to call the weekly wildcard drafts, which is basically a segment that I do throughout the FPL season where I select what I think is the best squad to have in Fantasy Premier League going forward in the next 4 to 5 game weeks. But seeing as we are in preseason, we haven't even reached game week 1 yet and we can't even use our wildcard yet. This is pretty much just going to be an update on what my current game week 1 team is currently for my FPL squad. But before we get into my FPL squad at the moment, we have to talk about the Fantasy Premier League guide that I have written, and you can find this on thevideoscope.com/FPL guide, which is also something you can find in the description for this video, right down below. As you can see from the guide, the first thing you can notice is the latest video on this very YouTube channel that you're watching right now, the FPL Scope. Please subscribe if you haven't already. But yeah, in the guide basically you have a lot of different things. You have a couple of squad suggestions, so this is pretty much everything from like the template squad, the most selected players currently among like FPL engaged managers, so that's why you don't see the likes of Trippier and stuff, but you see players that are picked by more like sort of managers that are really active and change their team pretty much every week. This is the current template that they have. Mostly these are like the most commonly picked players within like the squad budget of £100 million, which I guess is the currency in FPL. But anyways, these are like the most selected players amongst engaged FPL managers. Then we have more of a differential squad, players that are not really seen in that many drafts. A couple of fun players, and you can see all the explanations for all the individual players are here as well. Then the third squad is the early wildcard and bench boost squad, which is basically a squad where you try to optimize the first 4 game weeks before you wildcard in game week 5. And in doing so, you also get a bench boost or a game week 1 squad that is bench boostable. So you can basically, as you can see from the bench, you have Johnston, Wissa, Henry and Bullock, who all have decent fixtures at least. So if you want to be super aggressive and use your bench boost straight away, don't have to think about the bench boost for the rest of the season, then this might be the tactic and squad for you. And then finally, we have the zombie team of the season, which is basically trying to win FPL without a single transfer. This is something that I try to do every single season, and I always fail quite spectacularly. But we also have in this whole segment of the guide, you can also read through and look at all the different squads that have been in previous seasons, like the best zombie squad every single season and how well they would have done in FPL. That's something that I'm going to do a video on itself. But anyways, this is my current like sort of zombie team of the season suggestion as of right now. I have some fun players like Nkunku, for example, who I think is throughout the season is going to be really good. I think SA throughout the season is going to be really good, or at least very good value, and that's why they are in this squad suggestion. But as you can see, there are players like Tony and De Bruyne who are not going to be ready for game week 1, so this is probably not for like if you want to play this seriously and play every week. This is not the squad for you, but this is just something fun that I try to do every single season to see if I can beat FPL without a single transfer. But I'm usually quite far off because it's a really difficult task. But anyways, those are some of the squad suggestions we have in the guide. You can also see there are some other things, new player reviews, you have new managers review, for example, you have a review of Ange Postecoglou and what you can expect from his Tottenham team currently. You have starting lineups for all 20 teams, or at least projected starting lineups for all 20 teams in Premier League, and also set piece takers and who to follow, and a bunch of helpful stuff in the guide really. But that's not what we're going to do in this video. We're going to talk about my current Game Week 1 team. And I do it quite differently than most content creators, as you'll see from the first screen we'll go to here, which is basically a squad with just Haaland in it. That's all you need. But no, really, I'm going to try to explain how we usually do this. And this is what I do throughout the season on the weekly wildcard draft segments that I do as well. It's basically where I select players in terms of a style of like the NBA or NFL draft, where the number 1 player I pick or the number 1 player I'm talking about is the most important player to own going forward, or at least currently this is the most important player in my current squad, like the player that is the most nailed, that I'm the most sure about currently, and that is Haaland for pretty much every single one of us. So yeah, don't really have to explain him, and pretty much don't really have to explain the first 4 picks as well, so I just go through them pretty quickly. Haaland is my number 1 pick. Obviously, he is the most nailed in the squad. Saka, not that far behind. I think Saka and Estepinian are also pretty much 100% or like 99.9% going to be in my squad, at least if they don't get injured or anything like that. Rashford, I'm also pretty secure I'm going to have at least Rashford or Bruno Fernandes. I'm going to have one of them or both of them. But there's a good chance that I have Rashford, but you could also go with just Bruno. But I'm going to have at least one premium Man United, or at least premium I guess, for like 9.5 or 9.0, or 9.0 and 8.5 even, with the cheap pricing this season. But yeah, Rashford is pretty secure as well. So these players, I don't really have to talk that much about them. They were in the last draft that I did as well. The last draft I did was on July 10th. That's a previous video where I talked with Kevin, my co-host on the FPL Scope. We talked about his team, and then we talked about my team, and my team had the same 4 picks as I have currently. Like, these players are not really going anywhere apart from potentially Rashford. But next up are some players that I'm pretty secure in, but I'm not 100% sure of. Gabriel is pretty, like, he's like 90% going to be in my squad game week 1. I think he's such a good player to have. Super cheap for 5.0. Really no reason to go without him. Maybe if I triple up on Arsenal attack or something, I won't have him, but most likely I'll have Gabriel. Really good goal threat. Arsenal have one of the best defenses in the league. They should get more clean sheets this season. I think Gabriel should get more goals this season as well. So he's pretty much a no-brainer pick. He was picked number 8 last time I did this draft, and now he's picked number 5. So he's more secure now than it was a couple weeks ago, I guess. Next player is another player that is more secure in my squad now than it was a couple weeks ago. Mohamed Salah. I know it's controversial. I know a lot of people don't select Salah. They select Trent Alexander-Arnold instead and go without. They only go with Haaland as their premium player, but I feel pretty strongly about having Salah in game week 1. It's still a question if I sell him in game week 3 or not, but the reason that I want him in game week 1 is basically the Bournemouth at home fixture, as you can see right here. Playing Bournemouth at home in game week 2. I want to target that fixture and captain him, because I think Haaland against Newcastle, sure, he might score 1 goal, but most likely he won't explode and get like 3 or 4 goals. I think Salah has that potential against Bournemouth at home, so that's why I want Salah mostly. And also, I think it's also quite flexible, because you can sell Salah in game week 3. If you go through game week 2 without doing a transfer, you'll have 2 transfers in game week 3. And you can downgrade Salah to someone like Heung-min Son, for example, and then you can easily get Trent in defense if you want to. Or if Son doesn't look that good, if Nkunku looks really good, you can get him in up front instead, rather than Trent, for example. You can get a different midfielder in. Maybe Maddison looks good for Spurs. Maybe like a Brentford player is looking really good. Maybe Chelsea. Maybe Sterling's looking really good. It leaves you with a lot of options. If you start with Salah, you can downgrade him and upgrade somewhere else, and you have a lot of flexibility. So that's why I really like Salah. And the first 2 game weeks as well. He always scores against Chelsea, which is his first game. Chelsea are not the best team either. As you can see, I have it as a grey difficulty rating, which is basically 3 out of 5, middle of the road really. And then Bournemouth, which is pretty much one of the easiest fixtures of the season. So that's why I really like Salah, and I feel more secure about him now than I did previously. I'm going to try to fit him into my team. I've done this every single season. He has been like a must-have game week 1 every single season. So why change really? Because he's still an amazing player. He by far outscored everyone. Post World Cup last season, I think it was like 30, 40 points ahead of the next midfielder. He's such a good player. So yeah, I don't really see myself going without him. So these 6 players are pretty secure in my squad. But yeah, let's move on to the next player, which is Bryan Mbeumo. He's another player that is pretty secure in my squad. He's been in pretty much every draft that I've had so far. And that's because he has really good fixtures. He's amazing when he plays without Tony. He showed that last season. He averaged 9 points per game without Tony last season. I think he's the best 6.5 midfielder to go with at the start of the season. I think Eze and Mitoma are better for the whole season, but at the start of the season with the fixtures that Mbeumo has, and yeah, all the responsibilities he has, set pieces, penalties, I think he's a really good pick. Pretty much a no-brainer, but the only thing with him is I might go with his partner as well, or either as well or instead of Mbeumo, I might go with Johan Vissa, who is someone I'm going to talk about more at the end of the video as well. But Mbeumo, pretty secure in my squad as well. Number 8, as you can see, this is a player with a green name, which means that he wasn't in my last draft. So Gabriel Jesus is in this draft. I mentioned in the video with Kevin that Jesus is like the player that I most wanted to own in my squad, but I just couldn't fit him in with the money I had. But in this squad, I made an effort to get the money to have Jesus as the striking partner for Haaland. I think it's kind of important to have a striker in this 8 million sort of price range, because you can easily change Jesus to someone like Watkins. You can change it to Isak if Wilson gets injured in the first few game weeks. There's a lot of different options in that price bracket, so I really want to have like a mid-price striker as well, on top of having Haaland. So that's why I want to get Jesus in. I think also game week 1 against Nottingham Forest, he can score a lot of goals. Fulham, game week 3, he can score a lot of goals. Game week 4, Man United, I might sell him for someone like Nkunku if he looks really good. Like I said, there are so many good 8.0 options in attack, 8.0 or around that price range in attack. So that's why I really like Jesus. I also like the double up on Arsenal, I think, or triple up on Arsenal, in fact, but double up on Arsenal attack in the squad. I think that is a really good way to go. You could also go with, like I said, I could go with Wissa and Martinelli rather than Jesus and Mbeumo. That saves me 0.5 as well, but I think currently I'm leaning towards going more sort of template, because I didn't go super template last season. Well, I did decently template last season, but I don't know. I feel like going like with sort of like a template team at the start of the season is probably the best tactic to like not lose that much ground, I guess. But I am doing some different stuff with Salah, game week 2 captain. So yeah, maybe we'll see how that plays out in the actual season. But moving on, we have basically this is the segment where I have all my backup players, basically my bench players. Areola is my backup goalkeeper. Pretty certain he's going to be my 4.0 goalkeeper of choice. I think he's going to start for West Ham this season. Maybe I'll get someone like Cayman Kelleher if he goes to Wolverhampton, which he's linked to, or if Tom Heaton goes to Luton. Tom Heaton, I still think I would go Areola rather than Tom Heaton at Luton, but anyways, Areola is pretty much my my backup goalkeeper. My backup 4.0 defender currently is George Baldock. This is also sort of a contentious position where I could choose someone else. That's why Baldock is pick number 11. Actually, Uyo, my striker, is more secure than Baldock, I guess. I picked him as number 10. But yeah, Uyo from Nottingham Forest is just basically a placeholder 4.5 striker. Pick the one with the best name, because I don't think there are any good 4.5 strikers, or forwards as they're called. Unless someone like Balogun goes on loan from Arsenal to a different Premier League club, then he would be the standout option. But Uyo, he has scored a couple goals in preseason. He's my current favorite 4.5 option in attack. But like I said, he's just going to be on the bench every week, so it doesn't really matter that much. But this is sort of just to show you that like the players picked before these three guys are pretty secure in my team. But the players picked after these three guys, meaning Areola, Baldock, and Uyo, they are sort of on the fringe of the team. So yeah, we'll get them pretty soon. I'm just going to talk about Baldock and the 4.0 options in defense first. So Baldock, he's going to start the season at right wing back for Sheffield United. So he's a really good 4.0 option. He's a wing back, plays for a pretty fun attacking team, sort of, with Sheffield United. Their system is really strange, but Baldock has had a really good season in FPL before. He's nailed, like I said. Jaden Bogle, his rival, is injured for the start of the season, I think. So yeah, Baldock should be pretty secure for starts. I still think there are some other 4.0 options that are players that I might potentially have rather than Baldock, namely Bayer for Burnley. He's like the most popular 4.0 pick amongst like engaged FPL managers. And yeah, he's nailed for Burnley. Burnley are a decent side, so he looks pretty good. Might also go with Jared Branthwaite. I feel like he's going to be the starting centre-back for Everton next to Tarkowski. So if he is, he's a really good pick as well, especially with Everton's really good opening fixtures. And then the final 4.0 defender that I'm sort of considering is Malo Gusto for Chelsea, because I know Reece James is going to be injured at some point, so I might as well just be ahead of the pack and have Gusto, seeing as I'm not going to use my 4.0 defender that much anyway. But currently, rather than going with Gusto, I have gone with Baldock just to have like that secure extra starter just in case I need it, because the next three players that I'm picking are players that I might be in and out of the squad and stuff, so I feel like I need to have a more secure player in case either one of my other players gets dropped. So that's why I have Baldock currently in my squad. But moving on to the first out of the fringe sort of players I have in my squad, it is Destiny Udogie. I think that's how you say it. Udogie, maybe? I don't know. I try to pronounce every single name in FPL as well, by the way, if you want to watch that video. That's like a 2-hour video where I go through every single name. It was pretty exhausting. But anyways, Udogie, I don't know. I really like him. I think he's an amazing attacking player. I think throughout the season he's going to be amazing value for 4.5. He's going to be the starting left back for Spurs. And while they don't play with a back three and with wing backs, which is what Udogie has played in the Serie A, they do play with the inverted fullback sort of thing and have the fullback fill in the gaps up front, and that's what Udogie is going to do. He's going to be really attacking, I think. Depends if Pedro Porro is his fullback mate, I guess, on the right-hand side. But I feel like Udogie is going to be the starting left back. I'm not 100% sure about Porro at right back, but yeah, anyways, I think Udogie will be super offensive. He'll be super attacking and get into the box quite a lot and fill in the gaps and be an amazing player, especially for like a Big Six team, I guess. Big Six, because Newcastle might be bigger than Spurs currently, and West Ham might be bigger than Spurs. My favorite team, West Ham, because they are the Europa League champions. Europa League, Conference League, sorry. Much more important tournament, by the way. But anyways, that is a tangent. But Spurs, either way, they are a pretty big club. They don't have any trophies, but they are a pretty big club. So I think Udogie, sorry, I'm a West Ham fan, sorry. But Udogie, I really like that player, even though he plays for Spurs. But Spurs are a pretty big team. Udogie is a pretty big player, and yeah, I think he's a really good player as well. As you can see, his name is in green. That means that he hasn't been in the squad before, like with Jesus. It's also the case with a couple of my upcoming selections as well, but not the goalkeeper that I have. I still have Flecken in goal for Brentford. He is going to start the season rather than Raya, most likely. There's still that little bit of doubt because Raya is such a good goalkeeper and he's still with Brentford, but apparently Flecken has been promised the starting position. So currently I think he is the best goalkeeper to have in the game. 4.5 plays for the team that had the best value goalkeeper last season in David Raya, who was also 4.5 at the start of last season. I think Flecken, I think Brentford as well. Defensively, they have this tactic where they try to get a lot of shots from difficult positions from the opposing team. Like they do a really good job of covering the most important spaces in front of the goalkeeper. So there's a lot of easy saves for the Brentford goalkeepers usually. And I think Flecken, who is an amazing goalkeeper in his own right, will get a lot of save points and probably a lot of bonus points this season as well. So I think he's a really good goalkeeper option. You obviously have Andre Onana as well, who's like the new template goalkeeper currently. He came in at 5.0, playing for the defense that had the most clean sheets last season in Man United. Onana is also a better goalkeeper, both in FPL terms and in real life, than David De Gea as well. So you would expect Man United to keep more clean sheets. So I think Onana is a really good pick, and I might pick him still, but currently I have a different Man United defender, and it's not even Luke Shaw, it is Aaron Wan-Bissaka, who's also new in the squad. But Wan-Bissaka is basically priced at 4.5, because he's not like this super nailed on starting right back that you'd want for Man United. But him and Diogo Dalot will sort of be 50-50, or I guess 70-30 in terms of Wan-Bissaka starting. So I think Wan-Bissaka is going to start most games for Man United at right back, and that's why I feel like he's really good value for 4.5. It's cheaper than Onana, much cheaper than Shaw. He's still pretty attacking. The only reason that he's 14th pick, though, is because, like I said, he's playing against Diogo Dalot. They have pretty good competition there at right back, and Dalot might play some game weeks. For example, in game week 3, if I need Wan-Bissaka against Nottingham Forest at home, and then he gets subbed on for Dalot after like 70 minutes of the game, he only gets 1 point. That would suck, so that's sort of why I kind of leaning towards, I don't know, maybe leaning towards getting Onana instead, but Wan-Bissaka is cheaper, so that's why I have him currently. Rather than going with Onana and Henry, for example, that would cost me 0.5 more. So that's why I've gone with Wan-Bissaka for now. And then the final pick is also sort of out there. This was Dwight McNeil up until very recently. And very recently, meaning today, or at least yesterday, I guess, when Cornet scored as the starting striker for West Ham. And this has been rumored for a while now that Cornet is going to be playing a striker this season for David Moyes. This is something David Moyes likes to do quite a lot. He's done it with Arnautovic previously, turned Arnautovic from a winger to a striker. Did it with Michael Antonio as well, turned him from a winger to a striker. And it seems like this season he's going to do the same thing with Maxwell Cornet, which would be amazing for FPL because Cornet is 5.5 and listed as a midfielder. So yeah, that works perfectly for my squad. This is the 15th player in my squad. This is the last player I picked. I basically only have 5.5 left. Really wish I had 1 more million so I could get Mitoma in as well, because Mitoma is one of the players that are missing from the last squad that I had. As you can see in my last draft, above me, there are 4 names missing, because obviously there are 4 new names in the team. And I'll talk about those players right now. So the 4 players that have dropped out since last time are Mitoma, like I said. I wish I had the extra million, but since I downgraded or upgraded to Jesus in attack. I didn't have enough money to have Mitoma, who I think is still an amazing pick, especially considering they play Luton at home in the first game, which is probably the easiest game of the season. And then they have West Ham at home in game week 3, which is a really easy fixture for Brighton usually, because Brighton usually destroy West Ham every single time. But yeah, I can't afford him at the moment, so that's why he's not in the squad. Might pick Mitoma over Mbeumo as well. Potentially, that's something I'm considering as well, but right now, no place for Mitoma in my squad. Luke Shaw, like I said, I mentioned Onana, I mentioned Wan-Bissaka. I pretty much did, before Onana was priced at 5.0, I did the Shaw to Wan-Bissaka move, because I feel like for 1 million less, sure, he's not that sure of starts like Shaw is. Shaw is nailed, Wan-Bissaka is sort of not, but I think Wan-Bissaka is nailed enough that he's worth the 1 million less than Shaw is priced at. So Shaw is 5.5, Wan-Bissaka is 4.5. I feel like Wan-Bissaka is better value for that price. So that's why I have Wan-Bissaka rather than Shaw. Jan Wissa, like I said, I wanted to upgrade to Jesus, and that's why Wissa had to be sacrificed. But like I said as well, I might do Wissa for Jesus and Martinelli for Mbeumo. Maybe I'll do that instead. It's also something that I considered, but like I said, I really want to have that 8.0 midfielder, or 8.0 forward that I can switch Jesus to someone like Nkunku, for example, if he looks really good. So yeah, that's pretty much why I've done that. And then finally, Bayer, I had enough money to upgrade from Bayer to Udogie. That's why I did that. So I might also do Bayer rather than Wan-Bissaka and go without Man United defense in general, but probably not going to do that. But anyways, that is my squad, and it is ranked, as you can see, from 1 until 15. So just for anyone not watching this, just listening on their AirPods or whatever, I'm going to go through the picks in the squad. Number 1 pick, the most secure player in my team, Haaland. Number 2, Saka. Number 3, Persis Stepinian. Number 4 is Marcus Rashford. Number 5 is Gabriel Magalhaes for Arsenal. Number 6 is Mohamed Salah. Pretty certain I'm going to have Salah game week 1. Number 7 is Brian Mbeumo. Number 8 is Gabriel Jesus. Number 9 is Alphonse Areola. Number 10 is Uyo from Nottingham Forest. I'm not 100% sure what his first name is. I think it's Wang, but I'm not 100% sure. Number 11 is George Bullock. Number 12 is Destiny Udogie. Number 13 is Mark Flecken. Number 14 is Aaron Wan-Bissaka. And number 15 is Maxwell Cornet. So that is pretty much my Game Week 1 squad at the moment. But please check back a week from now when I update the squad. I'm going to do this probably every Friday from now on. So check out my updated squad next Friday. And as well, I'll go back to the first slide that we started with. Please check out the FPL guide as well, and all the different stuff that you can find here as well. Yeah, just to show you, this is going to be one of the next few videos on this channel as well. I'm going to talk with Kevin about some of our favorite picks out of the new players in Fantasy Premier League. You can even see Josko Guardiola, who's not even confirmed yet, so you can read about him even before he's confirmed and even before he has a price. So there's a lot of players you can look into here as well, and so much more in the guide in general. Like I said, you can find the link in the description. You can also find the subscribe button pretty close to the description as well, so please subscribe if you haven't already. This has been my Game Week 1 team currently, and some promotion for the FPL guide. I've been Mathias, and I hope to see you around before the season, during the season, and after the season when I won the whole damn thing. I'm going to win Fantasy Premier League this season. That's just a spoiler, by the way. Anyways, that has been this video, and I'll see you later. Bye.